In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern, taking a look at back and forth temperatures, obviously seeing some warmer than normal times, some cooler than normal times. All of this back and forth is going to create a fair amount of instability, and I do expect more activity than what is usual overall in the central and eastern states over the next couple of weeks because of that. We will be diving into any severe weather risks that are going to be around for the next 3 days. We do have still that chance of tropical development off of kind of like the northeastern regions of the Gulf and also for regions of that offshore of the southeast coast region. We have bumped up slight uptick from 20% chance to 30% chance of development there. So that is a very, very small increase, but it is an increase nevertheless. So we're going to be diving into that as well. Quickly, let's take a look at the past 30 days. I would do 31 if we could. But this is the month of June. Actually, I think there's only 30 days in June, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But this is the entire month of June here and how things ended up going. Obviously, we got off to a cooler start in the east, followed by a rather historic heat wave that brought some record temperatures to different areas, and that was enough to turn the tide and really bring us towards warmer than normal conditions here for a majority of the east. Also, looking at the west coast, we actually ended up having a warmer month there as well, with really the coolest region. It's not even really cool, but the central states ended up with a little bit of some blue areas, still some warmth up here as well, probably pretty neutral, but it is the coolest area compared to normal for the month of June overall. Now let's move into the upcoming conditions because I want to take a look at some of these temperatures. Looking at the highs as of today, much cooler for most areas here in the east than what we have been experiencing. This is coming due to this warm air mass sitting over the western areas of North America. We call this a positive PNA, and it oftentimes causes these cooler temperatures in the east as we're seeing there. So we'll be watching the west to really tell us what's going to be happening in the east. Wednesday the 2nd here tomorrow, really similar. Thursday the 3rd is when things start to really shake up. We see much cooler conditions starting to trend in for the west, tilting us from a positive PNA over to a negative PNA. So a big flip there. And we can already see a lot of this warmth is meandering its way eastward. So that should be trending temperatures upward here shortly after this. By Friday on the 4th of July, we could see much cooler conditions over the west, even more so than before. This warmth is mostly over the central areas of the United States, kind of the interior eastern half of the nation. So we're talking more Midwest, Deep South, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, areas like that. Seeing these warmer conditions, still a little cooler for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, but that should even be warming up after this point as well. Here's Saturday the 5th, where we can see the east really warming up. Sunday on the 6th as well, we see a lot of the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast seeing well above average temperatures, so maybe a second heat wave there. Again, coming just after the 4th of July. As we take a look at the west, we do see some signs of warming. It's not a huge signal, but some of this cold air is beginning to migrate eastward away from the west, so maybe another cool down coming in. By Monday the 7th, it is looking pretty evident that that is probably the case, as we see an even further warming along the west here. This cold is moving further eastward. We still have pretty severe heat over these parts. We're almost certainly by the 7th, they will have been in a heat wave, which I've mentioned this daily, but the requirements for an official heat wave is 3 days in a row of 90-degree temperatures or above. So if this is the 3rd day and we are seeing 90s in these areas every single one of those 3 days, then this would officially be another heat wave. Obviously, not as severe as our previous one, unless we're seeing 100-degree plus temperatures for 3 days in a row, which I'm a little bit doubtful of. Tuesday the 8th, it doesn't really end there. Wednesday the 9th, maybe breaking up finally. Still very warm for most areas here on the 9th. Thursday the 10th as well, the eastern seaboard is not quite as warm, but it is still above normal. Friday the 11th, it's like these cooler temperatures are trying to take over, but they really can't all the way through the end of the model run now. And you guys remember previously the models had a bigger cooldown with a massive cold front moving into the eastern states. And as of the past 2 model runs, we have not seen that anymore. So that's why I always tell everybody, take it with a grain of salt, especially beyond 10 days, because we can get a really strong signal and then the models just suddenly do away with it, as we've seen happen here. Looking at the storminess overall over the next few days and couple of weeks, we can see the east is really active tonight, today into tonight. For tomorrow on Wednesday the 2nd, we see a lot of the southeast still seeing a lot of that activity. But by Thursday the 3rd, we do see things dry up quite a bit here in the east. Pretty good for any 3rd of July firework events. I know they're a little bit more obscure, but here in Virginia we do have them, so I don't know if that's like a national thing or what, but looking pretty good in the east. It's more so the Rockies and Plains where we're more concerned about precipitation. And certainly by the 4th, where there's going to be a lot more firework displays, the east looks even drier. So this area looks like a good place to be for those firework displays. And so does the southwest, which shouldn't come as too big of a surprise, as they're very often dry this time of year. But we do see this area here for the Plains and some of the Rockies where there is going to be some storminess around, and this could be the areas where we're going to see disruptions to those displays, unfortunately. Looking beyond the 4th, as we move towards the 5th, we start to see a low developing over the kind of like upper Midwest here. Maybe a little bit of a cold front, warm front dynamic trying to start up. Definitely would suspect there would be a severe weather threat in there. So we'll see as we get closer to Saturday. Here is Sunday, the next day on the 6th, and really we see that low, for the most part, break up. There still is a lot of thunderstorm activity for a lot of the central states, especially. Monday on the 7th here, very, very similar. Not even going to break it down. It's still the central states where we're seeing the activity flourish. Even by the 8th here, Tuesday, we're still seeing the same thing. It's important to note that this is that area of concern for tropical development that we see here off the southeast coast, and this could really develop at any time. So we're going to be monitoring this, but anytime you see a lot of activity in these areas during the hurricane season, this is the very early portion, but you're going to be watching for something to try to get its act together there along the coast. So we'll be continuing to monitor that. Wednesday the 9th here, a lot of this activity that was over the central states is finally moving more eastward. We see areas like the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast starting to get in on that. Thursday the 10th, a lot more of the deep southeast getting involved. Friday the 11th, still the east here. Saturday the 12th, same thing. And really through the end of the model run, nothing really changes up. I mean, this area gets really, really active there towards the end. But the end is the one we're the least confident in. Again, beyond 10 days out, when we're looking at the 10th and beyond here at this point of July, it's really important to take it with a grain of salt, as we noted with that bigger cooldown that really the models have done away with for now. It could come back, but they've really, really done away with that. Looking at the total precipitation, we do see a relatively active look for pretty much everywhere from the plains eastward, but especially this eastern seaboard area we get the most here. So let's look at the anomalies. And again, we see the south central states, some of the southern plains as well. And then this like mid-Atlantic and southeast region are the two most active areas to watch for above average precipitation over the next 2 weeks. Now looking at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks, here's for today on Tuesday the 1st. We see a general risk of thunderstorms in the lighter green area. We do not expect severe weather, only general thunderstorms, but this is very tricky to forecast, and we very often see dangerous thunderstorms happen outside of the expected areas. So still heat every watch, warning, and advisory. Always be paying attention. The 2 darker green areas there are your level 1 marginal risk, where we expect isolated severe weather to occur, and then your 2 yellow regions for South Dakota and Nebraska, and then 1 there for the heart of the Mid-Atlantic. That is your level 2 slight risk, where we expect more scattered about severe weather reports to come in. Looking towards day 2, which will be for tomorrow on Wednesday, July 2nd, we see, again, very large general thunderstorm risk area, and then 2 marginal risks as well. Could see an upgrade. There's enough time, but I am a little doubtful. We'll see, though, for tomorrow. And then for Thursday, July 3rd, we see the same setup sort of, except we see the northern plains again. And then we see more of the northeast and mid-Atlantic, seeing that marginal risk of severe weather. Now let's dive into that 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. And interestingly, just a few years ago, this only used to be a 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook. They've updated it to a 7-day, which gives us a little bit more outlook, which is cool. Just a fun fact. But we do see we are at a code yellow here for the same area. Again, northeast Gulf, and then off the southeast there, we have now a 30% chance of tropical development over the next 7 days. It is a 0% chance over the next 48 hours. So this is expected beyond that 48-hour mark, but within the 7-day range. So keep that in mind. It gives us a little bit of an idea. It's between days 3 and 7, essentially. And we've upgraded from a 20 to 30% chance. It's important to note that if it goes above a 40% chance, so if it does one more uptick, we'll be right into the orange risk. And that would be a more mid-level risk. So that's the next upgrade that would basically have to happen. This one, we haven't seen any considerable upgrades. Again, it was a 20% for 2 days, and now it's a 30%. It is a step in the direction of development, but it is a very small one. We'll have to see if they see signs over at the National Hurricane Center that this one really will likely develop. We would see probably a sudden jump to 40, 50, 60%, maybe even more, as we saw with Barry just a few days ago. So we'll wait and see with that. This is a classic location for tropical development in the early hurricane season, like June, July timeframe. Would not be shocked if this did develop and impact perhaps that southeast coast area. Now, with all that being said, be sure to subscribe. We upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.